This is KVUE News Daybreak.
This law cracks down on policies like the Travis County Sheriff. Those policies are sanctuary city policies and won't be tolerated in Texas.
It's one of the most talked about and controversial bills in this year's legislature. What happens now that Governor Greg Abbott has officially signed the bill banning sanctuary cities into law?
Plus, an officer-involved shooting on 6th Street. The video that has people left with more questions than answers.
Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us for KVUE News Daybreak at 5 a.m. I'm Brian Maines.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. It is Monday, May 8th.
That's right. Before we check in with Anavid Reyes, she's keeping her eyes on the roads today. Let's talk to Erica Lopez with a look at what we're tracking outside and could have some rain this week. Erica.
That's right. Isolated rain showers is what we're tracking for Central Texas. As for today, it's just going to be cloudy and humid out there. You're waking up to temperatures in the lower 60s this morning. Humidity in the 60s also. It's all due to this area of high pressure just to the southeast of us. That's funneling in some southeast winds, so bringing cloud coverage and the humidity for not only Central Texas, folks along the coast, even portions of West Texas. A good amount of cloud coverage and humidity out there this morning also. Here's a look at the dew points that we're talking about. Upper 50s, if not lower 60s. That's just slowly going to increase for the next couple of days. So rain shower chances arrive by tomorrow. On the small side, a 20% chance. We're talking a better chance later this week. I'll break that down and chat about it in the full forecast. As for now, let's turn things over to Anavid Reyes. She has the latest on your traffic concerns this morning.
Hi, good morning. Well, this is a live look at I-35 and Ben White. You can see traffic is flowing quite nicely in this area. There is a crash we are watching at this hour. This is just north of the Montopolis area, and this is on Cesar Chavez Street, accident at Spencer Lane. So this is an area you want to watch out for this morning. Guys, back to you.
Anavid, thanks. More protests expected in just a few hours after Governor Greg Abbott signed Senate Bill 4, also known as the Sanctuary Cities Bill, into law last night. Within hours of signing, people gathered outside the governor's mansion to voice their concern about the measure.
Liberation, down, down with deportation. Sanctuary, not deportation.
The bill will now require law enforcement agencies across the state to honor U.S. immigration and customs enforcement detainers their request to hold someone in jail while their immigration status is checked out. Jay Wallace joins us at the governor's mansion where more protests are expected later this morning. Jay?
Yeah, it started small, but within about 2 hours of Governor Abbott signing SB 4 into law, there were about 100 people here on the doorsteps of the governor's mansion protesting that signing. And Governor Abbott, he signed the bill on Facebook Live around 6:30 last night, and here's a look at that.
Citizens expect law enforcement officers to enforce the law, and citizens deserve lawbreakers to face legal consequences. Texans expect us to keep them safe.
Sanctuary cities have been one of the governor's priorities this legislative session. Senate Bill 4 also targets leaders like Travis County Sheriff Sally Hernandez, who enacted a policy earlier this year to only hold on to suspects for federal immigration agents under certain situations. She can be fined up to $25,000 per day for that policy once the new law goes into effect. Now, no word yet when changes will come to Travis County jails, but it does look like they are coming. In a statement last week, Sheriff Sally Hernandez said, "While I hate seeing a state law like this come to pass, I have always followed the law, and that will not change." Those against this bill are gearing up for a fight.
This bill is not enforceable until September 1st, and so I'm now calling on city and county leaders from across Texas to file lawsuits against this unconstitutional law.
Some of those protesters last night said they felt it was cowardly for the governor to sign that measure on a Sunday night on Facebook Live. Abbott's communications director posted on Twitter last night saying, quote, "For those wondering why we chose Facebook Live, and it's only been an hour," with a photo circling that over 101,000 people have watched the video. As of this morning, that number is closer to 500,000. Now, those protests that started last night are expected to continue into this morning around 9 on the front steps of the governor's mansion. Live in Austin, Jay Wallace, KVUE News.
Jay, thank you. House Republicans facing backlash this morning over the new health care bill that has Americans all across the country worried about losing their coverage. Angry voters filling town halls to voice concern on potential higher costs for older Americans and for Medicaid cuts. ABC's Janae Norman explains how President Trump is responding to the outrage while the bill makes its way to the Senate.
It wasn't exactly a warm welcome home.
You're a fraud, you're a phony, and your days are limited.
Some Republicans on the defense following their yes votes to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, forced to explain why they supported the measure that rolls back key protections of Obamacare.
The bill protects the pre-existing conditions.
One of the biggest issues, pre-existing conditions.
Under this bill, no matter what, you cannot be denied coverage if you have a pre-existing condition. Under this bill, you cannot only not be denied coverage, you can't be charged higher. Let me finish my point. You can't charge people more if they keep continuous coverage.
While some Republicans are sticking to their talking points, others are breaking ranks.
It's true that under the House bill that a state that gets a waiver would still have to provide coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, but that coverage might well be unaffordable.
And now the namesake of the health care bill at the center of the debate is speaking out. President Obama calling on Congress to protect his signature bill that extended health care coverage to 20 million Americans.
I hope that current members of Congress recall that it actually doesn't take a lot of courage to aid those who are already powerful, but it does require some courage to champion the vulnerable and the sick and the infirm.
The Congressional Budget Office is expected to release its score of the GOP health care bill this week. The original score from March estimated 24 million Americans will lose their health care coverage over the next decade. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
Well, the Austin Police Department is investigating an officer-involved shooting that left one person dead over the weekend. It happened on 6th Street around 2:30 Sunday morning. This video posted on YouTube captures the exact moment a shot was fired into the air after a group of people began arguing. Austin police used public safety cameras to get a description of the shooter. 2 patrol officers spotted a man they believe to be behind the shooting. Officials say that's when he led them on a chase and shot at the officers, leading to this next video. Well, the officers returned fire as crowds watched the man pronounced dead after being transported to the hospital. APD officials are investigating the shooting and say so far the evidence supports the officer's story. The officers are on administrative leave. APD has not released their names, but we do know that one has served 18 years in the force, the other 7 years. Officials are asking anyone with information to please come forward.
This morning, a Round Rock man facing murder charges for his father's death. Authorities arrested 23-year-old Tobias Sauls after his father's body was found next to a car in northeast Travis County Sunday morning. Travis County Sheriff's deputies got calls of a car stopped off the road between Manor and Pflugerville. The car was in a field partially covered by mesquite trees behind barbed wire. When deputies arrived, they found a man in his 40s who had been shot. He was pronounced dead at the scene just after 3:30 a.m. Sauls was taken into custody after he was brought in for questioning. Texas could soon allow adoption agencies to refuse service to couples based on their sexual orientation or religion. This week, lawmakers could take up the proposed bill at the House after rescheduling debate Saturday. Supporters say the bill is about religious freedom for adoption agencies and foster care providers. However, opponents say it keeps children from moving into stable homes and families while funding discrimination with taxpayer dollars. This proposal just one of 24 bills in the Texas legislature that LGBTQ advocates say encourage discrimination.
5:08 is your time, and Texas lawmakers are trying to encourage more women to use health care services offered through state-run programs rather than Planned Parenthood. There are 36 billboards across the state promoting healthytexaswomen.org. The program aims to provide reproductive health and family planning services for low-income women. According to the Texas Tribune, the program is available for low-income women ages 18 to 44. It offers many services like pregnancy and STD testing, as well as breast and cervical cancer screenings, but it does not offer abortions.
The University of Texas community remembering a fellow Longhorn who died over the weekend. Former UT President Dr. Peter Flahn died at his West Austin home Sunday, according to his family. He lived to be 91 years old. Flahn served as the president of UT from 79 to 1985. He also taught geology. The Flahn Academic Center on campus is named after him. He also served as president at the University of Texas at San Antonio.
Well, wildfires continue to spread across the southeast, forcing families out of their homes. More than 100 fires tore through Florida alone. Over in Georgia, flames burned over 100,000 acres of land. On the Georgia-Florida line, a dense smoke advisory is expected to impact visibility in several towns, making it hard for drivers to see. Several schools have canceled classes this morning so students can be with their families, while fire crews continue to battle the flames. Hi, Erica. How are things looking out there?
Well, things are especially quiet today as we kick off your work week. It's muggy. It's warm out there. That's going to be the trend that we enter into this work week. We were spoiled last week. Definitely a lot of sunshine and dry humidity levels. But right now, humidity is in the 60s. Temperatures are warm out there also. 65 for Camp Mabry, 59 in ABIA. Right now, the Hill Country, that's been our coolest spot, but they're still very much in the 60s. 61 in Driftwood, Buda also. ABIA are the coolest for the central counties at 59 degrees. Check out the eastern counties. Lots of lower 60s out there for sure. Here's what you can expect for your rush hour forecast. It's muggy out there, so humid conditions as you head out the door this afternoon. A mostly cloudy afternoon is in store. Temperatures in the mid to lower 80s. We're calling it 83 degrees for your forecasted high here in Austin. Southeast wind is a reason to blame for the humidity. That's going to increase our rain shower chances starting by tomorrow. I'll talk a little bit more in depth about our rain shower chances in the full forecast. Guys, back to you.
Erica, thanks. It is the drug used to fight the signs of aging.
But now there could be another reason people are turning to the so-called miracle drug, how Botox could be treating depression. And
another devastating incident on a college campus. A Penn State student found dead at a fraternity house while more than a dozen members were arrested. And what the university is doing now.